And we are back for another episode of Democracy, Disney, and Drinks. Today is Star Wars Day. May the 4th be with
Oh,
you. A little tie-in
yes.
for our Disney portion, I guess.
Excellent.
Wish we were happier about things that were happening today, but a little update on some legal aspects. We're gonna probably do a couple little short episodes today because there's so much chaos happening. I thought we'd get to more Disney because we'd run out of things. That was really stupid of me.
I know.
I was
Well,
very naive. I was very naive going into this, I think. Being like, oh, we're going to have so much time for like tips and tricks and all this stuff for Disney. And there's barely any time for any of it right now. But we'll get there
we'll,
eventually, hopefully.
we'll work it in.
Hopefully.
But you did mention Star Wars and just Mark Hamill. I don't know if anyone, do you
Oh,
follow Mark Hamill?
I
I
love
follow
that
him on
man.
I follow him on Blue Sky, and he posted something the other day that I just loved, and I think I even reposted it, which I'm careful about what I would repost, but I put something, well, of course Mark Hamill would be part, or Luke Skywalker would be part of the resistance.
Obviously.
Yeah, I love it. Love
Yeah,
Mark Hamill.
he is not a fan of this administration.
No, he's not. And today's drink, just our sister's going to be upset because we didn't have alcoholic drinks in the last episode, and she commented on that. But unfortunately, I don't have an alcoholic drink today either. But I do have my iced mocha latte with the nugget ice and my Disney straw.
And I just have water because I'm nursing a headache and I don't need that in my life. So I gotta stay hydrated while I can.
We'll get a drink later.
Yeah. Yeah.
After
I'm
we talk
probably gonna
about
need one
this.
after this episode just to get, yeah, it's fine.
All right, jumping right in. We're going to try to do what we did last week. This is going to be a legal update. Things change so quickly that, heck, some of it may already be outdated. But just a legal update on Kilmar Abrego Garcia, the DHS, which is Homeland Security. And just to give a little background, in case there's any first-time listeners, my background is I'm a practicing attorney. I've been doing that for 20 plus years. My sister here is a pharmacist, so we come at this from different perspectives, from the law and from the healthcare, and we're both moms too. But anyway, back to Kelmar Albrega Garcia. The Homeland Security, DHS, they continue to make accusations and slander Albrega Garcia. They had released something that I just, on their, I think it's on their website now. I don't know if you saw this. They said the facts are clear. Kilmar Abrego Garcia is a violent, illegal alien who abuses women and children. He had no business being in our country, and we are proud to have deported this violent thug. They go on to say, we have now found 2 petitions for protection against him, in addition to the fact that he entered the country illegally and is a confirmed member of MS-13. Our country is safer with him gone. Again, that is not how this was published. I believe it was on their website. It was a statement, the press release. That's not how.
Beautiful propaganda.
I know. Violent
Beautiful.
thug. Not to mention, they're still missing the point. It's not, he could be all those things. I doubt most of that's true. I don't know for sure. But at the end of the day, it doesn't matter. It's about giving the man due process. That's all we're asking for.
Did they
But
include the screenshot of his photoshopped knuckles that President Trump was clinging to?
Yeah, during
Because
the
that was
ABC.
really exciting. That interviewer, God love him. He was great. Good job for him. Well done.
ABC
Like did not let him bully him. I was impressed. He stood up.
If you haven't seen the ABC News interview, it was about the President Trump's first 100 days. It's on Disney Plus.
Disney tie-in.
Disney tie-in. It's combative. It's mind-numbing at points, and yes, talks about, well, he has the knuckles, and they had MS-13 on it, and the interviewer was like, that was Photoshop, Mr. President. And it was
like, did you not see? It's clearly on there. You're like, someone needs to give this man his meds and put him to bed.
Yeah, exactly. They also are accusing Kilmar Abrego Garcia of human trafficking now. So at any rate, he also, during that interview though, I did note this. Trump admitted twice that he could, well, once on the interview and then once in a time interview, he has admitted that he could bring Abrego Garcia home, but that his lawyers are telling him not to. So despite the court saying, the Supreme Court saying, facilitate the return of Abrego Garcia, they're just outright ignoring it. There's also, and we're going to talk about the cabinet meeting in our second episode because there's so much there. But we do have a clip from the cabinet meeting because it's directly related to this. It's the Secretary of State, Marco Rubio, at the end of the cabinet meeting. Because, you know, they're televised. Why wouldn't they be? That's not normal, by the way. Not normal. And it's not normal for a reason. But those reporters, which is also not normal, asked the administration if they had communicated with the president of El Salvador to bring back Abrego Garcia. And here's the clip.
Well, I would never tell you that. You know who else I'll never tell? A judge. Because the conduct of our foreign policy belongs to the President of the United States and the executive branch, not some judge. So we will conduct foreign policy appropriately if we need to. But I'll never discuss it. And no one will ever make us discuss it because that's how foreign policy works.
Because now we're being concerned with foreign policy being leaked.
Being spread. Yeah.
This is turning of the tide for this administration, that we're concerned about foreign policy leaks. And
never mind the propaganda videos that went out, and the DHS, Homeland Security, Kristi Noem going down to the, El Salvador concentration camp to do propaganda videos. Yeah. Now they're concerned about foreign policy.
At least she didn't shoot any dogs while she was down there that we know of. So
that we know of. That's true.
That we know of.
But anyway, the judge in the Abrego Garcia case, the order to stay discovery has now expired, and so that case is moving forward as far as they're supposed to be updating how they're facilitating, and maybe that was the update from Marco Rubio, that they're not doing it. We've also, I know you've seen this because you and I texted about this, the ICE botched raid in Oklahoma with U.S. citizens.
With children.
A single mom and 3 children.
In their underwear. Yeah. Wasn't that what I read?
The one, they were in their undergarments because it was at night.
Yep.
And it was raining, and they forced U.S. citizens. All U.S. citizens.
Can you force them out? I can't even imagine
the horror. And 3 young children being traumatized. Again, mistakes do happen. Search warrants, sometimes they get the wrong house or things like that. But this is what happens. It's an ICE raid. They're looking for illegal immigrants allegedly involved in human trafficking. But this is what happens when you don't take your time, right? When you're trying to, to hell with the process. We're just going to go do it. This is what happens. They took their phones, computers, cash, and the last reports I read, that has not been returned.
Yeah, someone said they had their life savings in the house that they took from them, and it's
a single mom. Yeah, it's sickening. Again, we were warned that what happens when this kind of force is used against U.S. citizens, and here we are again. We also, some good news, Texas federal judge, a Trump-appointed judge, did strike down the actual act that they're using, the Alien Enemies Act. Again, this is supposed to be used in times of war, and the judge said, this isn't war. This was the case that was originally filed in D.C. with the Judge Brosberg, but there was some jurisdictional issues as far as venue and where it should be filed. So he's still handling it with regard to the contempt proceedings that the government, defied the court order, but the case was refiled in Texas. And this is where the federal judge is saying, yeah, we're not in the time of war. So the government has exceeded their authority. I'm sure
he's totally just going to declare war. You know, this is what's next. If they think that that's going to get him where he wants to be, they'll just declare war on Greenland, Canada.
Well, it would have to be Venezuela.
Okay.
Because the Venezuelans, it would have to be lots of countries, right? Because they're all of South America.
Challenge accepted. I'm waiting for it. The United States has declared war on everyone. If you are an American, like that's where we are. I wouldn't be shocked. Like, seriously, it's ridiculous.
Oh yeah, take a breath. It's
fine.
It's fine. A law firm, obviously, I'm not sure if we spoke about this with regard to executive orders, but there are a number of executive orders that are targeting large law firms. Some are caving, some are not. Yay for the ones that are not. And part of that targeting was taking their security clearances and their access to federal courts, which is really just cutting law firms off at their knees. If you can't practice in federal courts and that's your practice, and that's what your practice is, you're bankrupting these law firms. So you understand. I don't understand actually why you wouldn't fight it, because every law firm that has fought it has won very quickly in court. And there was a federal court in DC that permanently blocked the executive order that targeted one of those large law firms. It's Perkins Coie. And this was the law firm that represented Hillary Clinton in 2016 and has also been involved in voting rights litigation, which is what the Trump administration doesn't like and wants to go after. It represented Hillary Clinton in 2016, almost a decade ago. Can't get over that. Can't turn that page.
Oh,
and
come
he won
on.
that damn election, right? Get over it. But the judge,
he's a teeny tiny little man. He's a teeny tiny.
You barely see him.
I wish.
I know. But the judge in that case found that these executive orders, and this one specifically, violated the First, Fifth, and Sixth Amendments, which is obviously First Amendment freedom of speech, and then the right to choose counsel. What I wrote down here, because again, there's so much good language coming out of these court decisions that you just don't normally see. I don't normally see, and I've been doing this for 20 years. It's just amazing. Let me just read it because I can't do it justice, and words are powerful. It's the judge said, quote, "In a cringe-worthy twist on the theatrical phrase, 'let's kill all the lawyers,'" referring to Shakespeare's Henry VI, the executive order takes the approach of "let's kill the lawyers I don't like," sending the clear message, lawyers must stick to the party lines or else. That's the judge's words, which that's what you do when you're moving from a democracy to an authoritarian government.
Well, that's why I said, that pretty much follows what this administration has been doing since day one. Like, they had representatives saying that they wanted to drag Democrats through the streets, like tied to their cars, because they have different beliefs than they do. Like,
well, yeah, it's all a revenge tour, and they go after lawyers. It's out of a playbook. There's a book, and it's a very short book. I don't know if I've talked about it before.
They go after the media, go after the lawyers, go after like
On Tyranny by Timothy Snyder. And it talks about it. You go after the lawyers because the justice system cannot work without lawyers, and they don't want the justice system to work. So that's where we are. Speaking of, lawyers, the Department of Justice continues to be gutted and politicized. They have, and this includes the Civil Rights Division, which has been described over the years as like the crown jewel. They're dropping voting right cases, pay discrimination lawsuits, environmental justice cases, and policy misconduct, and instead going after individuals that they don't agree with, or going after students, international students that are exercising their First Right amendments.
But yay for
First Amendment
Colombian
rights.
student. I can't remember his name, but he was released.
He was released. Yes. That was
Congratulations.
that was the student that he was at his naturalization interview. Like he went there, he was,
he's been through the process.
Yeah, he's been through the process, yes. Doing what he's supposed to do, and went to the interview and then was effing arrested. But he was released, so that is good news. That is good news. Within the DOJ, though, there's been about half of the U.S. attorneys have left. Hundreds. And that's not normal, okay? U.S. attorneys, like the assistant U.S. attorneys I'm talking about, these are not, political jobs. These are career assistant U.S. attorneys. And hundreds have left. And then we have this, I don't want to name call. So his name's Ed Martin. He was an attorney. He's a nominee for the District of Columbia U.S. Attorney's Office. He's the acting district attorney or DC U.S. attorney right now. And he, in his private practice, he represented January 6th defendants. And then when he became the acting U.S. attorney, he moved to dismiss those cases. So he was actually on both sides of these cases, which is not allowed. It's unethical, unprofessional. It's fine. But he's also commenting on indictments of the guilt of defendants, which is also contrary to regulations that govern prosecutors, among other things. So, I mean, I don't know if they'll confirm him, the Senate, probably, because what if they
why not?
I'm not. Yeah, why not? Doesn't really matter. Fun fact about you and I spoke about this, the January 6th fun fact.
Oh my God. I can't. I can't. Fine.
Yeah. You want me to?
Can I put these on mute for a minute?
I know. Just mute. Earmuffs. The Trump administration, for anyone that hasn't heard, has reached a settlement with Ashley Babbitt's family. You might remember Miss Babbitt was the woman who was fatally shot on January 6th as she was trying to break in with others into the house where the members were. They had weapons, did not have guns, I guess, but they had weapons. They had, I don't know, flags with spikes on the end or whatever. But it was they were trying to break in.
They had tasers because we heard about officers being tased, whether they stole them from people. They obviously had powerful weapons. They had
powerful weapons, and it was a mob, okay? And so she was shot and killed, unfortunately. The DOJ had investigated this after all of that happened and found that the Capitol police officer who shot her was justified. This is all on camera, by the way. But we've now reached a settlement, apparently, and taxpayers get to pay. I don't know what that is, but the lawsuit was for $30 million, like a wrongful death lawsuit. I do have a clip of this. He was praising Ashley Babbitt, so we'll play that.
I'm a big fan of Ashley Babbitt, okay? And Ashley Babbitt was a really good person who was a big MAGA fan, Trump fan, and she was innocently standing there. They even say trying to sort of hold back the crowd. And a man did something to her that was unthinkable when he shot her. And I think it's a disgrace.
Yeah, she was a wonderful person, as the president said. Just a wonderful person. I have to move on.
Just made bad decisions. Sure. Just a bad bystander.
We'll talk about Miss Bondi, Pam Bondi, the U.S. Attorney General. Again, she was in the cabinet meeting. We have some clips of that, but that she heads up, obviously, the head of DOJ, and she's looking more and more just like Trump's personal attorney, prosecuting and going after those Tesla protesters, investigating former Trump administration officials from the first administration, Miles Taylor and Chris Krebs. So, this is the revenge tour, but whole lot going on in DOJ, and that's just scratching the surface. There's a whole lot more there. The last thing I have on for this legal update is the U.S. Supreme Court's oral argument last week. So this has to do with the Establishment Clause, which is just the separation of church and state. And this involves a Catholic online charter school. And the question was whether it could be funded by the state of Oklahoma as a public school. The Oklahoma Supreme Court had ruled against the Catholic school, so they lost at the Oklahoma Supreme Court, but now it's going to oral argument. It was only an 8-justice panel. Amy Coney Barrett had recused herself, which I didn't know that those things happen these days. So kudos to her for recusing herself. She has a couple of fellow justices that refuse to do things like that, Alito and Thomas. But so if the U.S. Supreme Court, the oral argument went on for like 2 hours, a little troubling. Just it's so hard to predict Supreme Court cases. The so-called liberal judges, I think it was clear that they will vote to affirm the lower court's decision. The others, I'm just not sure. If it's a 4-4 decision, because it's only 8 justices, the lower court's decision will stand. But essentially, and the Establishment Clause is very clear on this. This should be a very easy case. States cannot establish religion. They cannot be looked at as though they're establishing religion or showing a preference towards a religion. So that's why public funds should. It doesn't mean that there can't be schools that are private that are religiously affiliated. That's fine, but you just can't have a state paying for it, because it starts to look as though that's something that the state or our government then has put a stamp of approval on. So it should be straightforward. The problem is, if this case is decided, and if they overturn the Oklahoma Supreme Court's case decision, it's gonna lead to full public funding of all religious schools. And at the end of the day, what this really comes down to is it's killing public schools. And that is part of the plan, I believe. We see this a lot. We see this movement towards killing public education, and this would certainly go a long way in doing that. So stay tuned for that. I would not expect a decision anytime soon, but we'll certainly talk about it when it does.
It ties in nicely to what they're doing.
Yep. I know you did some.
Yeah, I had some stuff here. There was one. I'll hop away from Oklahoma for a second. I'm gonna
and then you'll
go down. I am gonna hop back. These southern states, y'all. We're gonna go to Texas. Senate Bill 10. So this is it's going to require every public K through 12 classroom to display a poster or framed copy of the 10 Commandments, at least 16 inches wide and 20 inches tall.
Oh, they even made excellent.
They even made required dimensions. Yes.
Yeah. Can it be bigger than that? Is it at least?
At least it can be bigger.
It can be bigger. Okay, good.
We have no max here.
No.
They said the 10 Commandments were foundational to the United States, comparing it to the Declaration of Independence. Isn't that fantastic? Mrs. Smith, what's adultery? Who's got to tell their first grader what adultery is?
I know that too.
Christ.
Our president loves that.
Also,
right? He follows the 10 Commandments.
Yes, it's don't get me started. Oh, are we getting into that about the Declaration of Independence? What he said he thought about? What it makes him think of is just.
Hold on, let me stop. This was the ABC News interview. Yes, for anyone that didn't watch this, go ahead.
You have to watch the clip though too, because God love that reporter, the interviewer. His face is the best. I can't even like. It's gold. He's like, "What does this, document mean to you? Like having it here?" And Trump's answer
the
is
Declaration
something.
of Independence.
Yes, because he had to have it moved into the Oval Office, of course.
Yeah.
And I wish I had his exact words, but basically saying, "Oh, of love and unity." And the reporter's face was just like,
have you read it? It's
like,
where we declared our independence. It's in the name.
Are we looking at the same document? Like, this is a divorce document. This ain't about love, buddy. Like, what the fuck? God, you got me going. God, okay.
Sorry.
We got a little sidetracked. I'm going back to Texas now.
Okay.
They also have brought up a bill to ban animal behavior in public schools. This is Forbidding Unlawful Representation of Role-Playing in Education Act.
This is real. This is not a joke.
This is completely real. And the funny thing is, I had heard stupid shit about this prior to the election too. And this is like, they're eating the cats, they're eating the dogs. So this is what they ran on. This crazy shit that they were saying, we're changing kids at school. They're giving them gender reassignment surgeries. It's fine. So it stops students from using a litter box. Also prohibits surgical interventions that would make a student appear more animal-like. No whiskers today.
This is what they're spending their time doing.
This is what we're focused on. So there was a hearing Tuesday, and Representative James Tallarico, he's a Democrat. He asked, there's a great video. He asks Stan Gerdes, he introduced the bill. He asked him to confirm the claim that inspired the bill. He said, can you name me give me evidence that this has happened? Like, can you give me one piece? Just one. He got nothing. He has nothing. Couldn't provide specifics. So yeah, this is just another way to get people to go against public schools. This is their goal.
Yeah.
Ruining public education. I had actually saw a video, and I can assume that this is where it's coming from. There is a teacher that had brought out like a big old bucket of like supplies and stuff, and he was going through what all these supplies were for his classroom. And this big bucket, he said, well, this has a seat inside it because it's like a foldable toilet seat. So this is in case we have an active shooter, if we are in lockdown and I have a student that has to go to the bathroom. So I'm guessing that because I have heard that in certain schools, they were putting like basically buckets with kitty litter in them because it'll help with the smell. Obviously, if they are in a lockdown or have a school shooting, they could be in lockdown for a long time. And when you have a bunch of kids in the classroom,
especially little ones, because
especially little ones,
elementary schools are not off limits,
right? And that's where we've seen some of the most devastating.
So let's address that Let's address the cat litter.
We don't want to. Yeah, we're going to go with that.
The real problem where we have children being slaughtered in schools.
So it's another way for them to push for voucher systems.
Yep, and they're doing it. I don't know if you had this. They're doing it. I read they're doing it in Ohio as well. With regard to an attack on public education, they're going after funding. There's a House bill or Senate bill that is pending right now in the Ohio legislature that's going to cut public funding and put a lot of schools in almost immediate fiscal emergencies, which means the state comes in and it's bare bones type of education then. At the same time, they're increasing funding for charter schools, obviously religious, generally speaking, religious based. So it's, you know, moving that towards a voucher system. It's again just an attack on public schools, and it's infuriating. We were educated in a public school. Our kids go to public schools. I'm okay if you want to send your kid to a private school. It's fine. You can send them to a Catholic school. You can send them to a Jewish school. I don't care. That's not what I want to do with my child. I'm sending my child to a public school, and they're trying to destroy our public schools.
We're going to skip over to Oklahoma because their Department of Education has approved.
We're back to
controversial.
Oklahoma.
Yes, we're back to Oklahoma. New standards for social studies.
Oh God, I read this.
Their state superintendent, he's something. Can I just tell you, I did a little digging onto him too. He's fun. He wants to be just like Trump too. God, every week I'm finding a new up and coming Trumpster. So these standards include removing the impacts of George Floyd's death and the Black Lives Matter movement. The biggest thing that's probably the most controversial is identifying discrepancies in the 2020 election results, including the sudden halting of ballot counting in select cities and key battleground states, security risks of mail-in ballots, sudden batch dumps, and unforeseen record number of voters.
Do they also discuss all the court decisions that found against Trump?
Oh, I'm sure they don't. But like some of the stuff, it's just
we're teaching our children now like a false narrative.
Yes, we are, and it's
just propaganda. It's just propaganda.
But they're worried about us grooming children in schools for things. But this is what we're changing to. But yeah, he also, this is the same guy that wanted to spend $3 million to buy 55,000 copies of the Trump Bible.
Yes. It's putting the Declaration, or is the Constitution,
I think, and maybe the
Bill
of Rights.
And the Bill of Rights in the Bible, like part of the Bible. No.
And that's why it's such a good deal. Because you get all of those things in one.
Oh my God. Makes my head explode. Makes my head hurt.
In March, the Oklahoma Supreme Court does have a temporary stay prohibiting the purchase. So we'll see. I didn't know that. That's going. Yeah. And then this guy also in February proposed that the public schools track student immigration statuses. He's a winner. I like this guy a lot. So great. Mind you, just for a little fun fact, do you know where Oklahoma ranks out of the 50 states for education?
It's 48th, I would guess.
49th.
Oh, I was good. Yeah.
Yep.
Maybe pay a little bit more attention to actual education and less to shit like this.
Meanwhile, just to encompass everything that's going on, I guess, with the public education and the schools and what they're trying to do, it also came out this past week that our education, or our Department of Education, is cutting grants that were more than $1 billion created in 2022, obviously under the Biden administration. This is a bipartisan bill, though, that was put forward to address mental health resources for our
Uvalde, right?
Public schools. Yes, it happened after the Uvalde shooting in Texas. Because
it was all...
And our legislature actually came together for this bill because... You know, they want to keep saying that guns aren't the problem in this country, that it's mental health. So that's why they got together. They're pushing for more resources. And I mean, mental health resources are key for schools and also post-COVID. I mean, there's been such a need post-COVID because of just everything that did, on top of obviously the number of school shootings that we have in this country. Such a great thing to do. And now they're canceling that because apparently we just don't have the resources for that. And they said that a lot of it came out of they didn't.
And that's not Oklahoma. That's everything, right?
This is everywhere. This is the federal Department of Education.
But it's on its way out. Like that department.
I guess we shouldn't worry about it anyway. But
it's being dismantled and will be no more in the future. Do you want to?
Yeah.
Does this tie in then with the universities? Just a little bit, a quick update there. We didn't get into too much on the universities last last time we ran out of time, but Harvard is now suing the administration because they refuse to make changes to their curriculum and policies that the Trump administration had requested, not really requested, told them to do. And it was absurd, doing away with anything remotely related to DEI, basically cracking down on any types of protests on campus. It was obscene, the things that they were telling them to do, just complete overreach, which is always amazing because you hear that, big government telling us what to do. Well, they're okay with it when it aligns with, I guess, their goals. And here Harvard essentially said no thanks, and they're suing the administration. And then Trump has threatened, and this past week said he is going to revoke Harvard's 501c3 status, which is their nonprofit status. I know a little bit about this. He cannot do that. Okay. The president cannot unilaterally revoke a nonprofit's exempt status. It's a violation of federal law. I have the code section 26 U.S. Code section 7217, prohibition of executive branch influence over taxpayer audits and other investigations. Cannot do it. But he's tweeting about it and talking about it, and that's,
mention it in the cabinet meeting.
Mention it in the cabinet meeting. Oh, yeah. Well, I saw this yesterday, and I don't think I told you about this. Apparently, Harvard, their faculty has pledged 10% of their.
Oh, I did see. I read that. I was like, oh, go Harvard.
After my own heart there. But universities are banding together, which is something that the large law firms have not figured out, but apparently universities are. I lost count how many have come together now, from the Ivy Leagues to those in the Big Ten. All these schools are coming together because we can't have the government telling these universities what to teach, who to teach in the context of international students. So that's I haven't
heard anything from down in the SEC aside from there were some people really pissed off that Trump was doing their commencement speech. I don't know if any of those schools down there have joined in, but I'd be pissed off if he was doing my commencement speech too, because
I still have not
as red as those states. I haven't watched all of it. Maybe we'll touch on that on another one, but as red as those states are, obviously the university population is a little more liberal, and they were not a fan of him standing up there and lying about things.
I mean, it was just a campaign.
It was
rally.
Look at the price of gas. It's $1. It's $1.88.
We'll get into that. Yeah, in the next episode. But so just turning a little bit, since it says May 4th. May the force be with you. Fourth be with you. I know your husband is a big Star Wars fan. My husband's a big Star Wars fan. And Disney, right now, since they acquired the rights many years ago, has done a lot in Hollywood studios with Star Wars.
They did close down the big not interactive, but the hotel. We didn't go to that because I was like out of my price range for that.
Yeah, it was very pricey.
But yeah, I don't know what they're going to be doing with that right now. But the other stuff that they have back there is amazing, and I think anybody that has even watched the movies doesn't even have to be a huge Star Wars, nerd. Really cool. They've done a great job with it. The whole area is awesome. They have stormtroopers walking around. Rey will be running around hiding. Kylo Ren walks out. They have now the Mandalorian walks around sometimes with Grogu, and then the rides back there are really cool too.
The newest one, the Rise of the Resistance, which I've only actually been on once, because the lines are usually pretty long, but it was really amazing. I mean, it made you feel like you were in the movie.
Yeah.
It was, and I didn't know what to expect when I wrote it the first time. So it was really like, oh my God. Like these people
are like, they stay in character and they're like, you this way. Like
Yes. It was like I was on the starship or whatever
Yeah.
the spaceship was, but it was pretty amazing. Yeah, highly recommend it. It's a long wait. I think we
we lucked
splurged
out
in-
one time and hit it at 5 minutes. We walked on one night. It started raining and the park cleared out, and we had a dinner reservation over in Toy Story Land, Roundup, barbecue, rodeo, whatever.
yeah.
And we ran over there after, and it was a walk on.
5 minutes.
We rode
Oh.
back to back with the kids. My husband stood outside with the little one, and I went on real quick with them, and then he went right back on with them again.
Oh, how fun.
And it was, yeah,
Yeah.
very
Do
short
those
wait.
things
It
when
just
when it
depends.
rains or with fire,
Yes.
like when the fireworks are going on, you can sometimes
Yes, and the
lines
shows, the like Phantasmic and the
Yep.
show that they do in front of, well, it used to be the Great Movie Ride, but now in front of Mickey and Minnie's
Yeah.
Runaway Railway.
How fun. Well, I think we'll end on that note, and we're gonna follow up with a double episode today to talk about everything else that's going on. So
Get excited.
until next time.